Head coach Antonio Pierce, kind enough to join us. So, Coach, I want to begin with Christian Wilkins and the injury. How long it's going to be is not important now. Just him, the player, and the relationship you have with him.
Yeah, I mean, to watch him, pretty much the entire second quarter play on a foot and do it on one leg and have a sack, 2 TFLs, running around, chasing guys down the field, and, just to see his desire and want to be for his teammates, I was impressed with it. And obviously we found out the news at halftime, and we got the bad news throughout the week. But, credit to Christian because he's been an ultimate pro. I've said that from day one when he jumped in this building. Outside of Max, he's the first guy in the building, right? They're battling every day. They're the last ones in the building. His work ethic, just being a pro, and when you got younger players on our roster, other D tackles, you can't have a better role model than a Christian Wilkins.
And you expect him to obviously be around and encourage these players as such a big-time leader.
He was in there today. Again, first guy in the building, 6 o'clock, along with Max, rehabbing and getting ready to come back.
Quarterback, where do you stand with the quarterback position?
Yeah, we're going to go with Aidan.
Okay.
Going forward. Yeah, we're going with Aidan.
Looking at the tape and what he can do with his accuracy, his time in the pocket, looking through progressions, what are you looking forward to against the Steelers there?
Well, I think, we saw a lot of it with Aidan last year. We saw it through this, cornerback battle throughout the off-season and training camp, and I think it's just time. I think Aidan gives us an opportunity to push the ball down the field like we want. We did talk about the accuracy, cerebral. Quarterbacks will stand in the pocket. There was a lot of things that Aidan does that you saw growth. I think we saw that in training camp, and again, there were some ups and downs. There were some moments, and obviously we went with Gardner, and Gardner did the best job he could. But, at this moment, I think it's best for our team to go forward with Aidan.
All right, we'll go on to the Steelers here. Najee Harris, 3.3 a carry, no rushing TDs, but he's close. It seems like they're trying to get him going. They pound it with it all the time. He could be very dangerous if you don't get him down at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that firsthand last year, right? It's like you got to pound him. You don't worry about the stats going into your game. You just know this game is going to be a focus for them. And if you're playing the Raiders right now, you're probably thinking, hey, we need to run the ball on these guys, right? If we've given up some runs there. So it's going to be key that we play, gaps down defense. We got to play with extension. It can't be one tackler at the ball carrier now, right? We need a gang tackle. We need 11 Raiders on the ball carrier at all times. And there's going to be opportunities for us to try to punch the ball out, knock it off, and we got to do that. But more importantly, we got to get the runner down.
How are you preparing for their quarterback because of the decision they have coming up? Justin Fields, we've seen him before. He could be really dangerous, too, if you don't sack him in the pocket and he takes off.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you're talking about a dual-threat quarterback. I think he's made some really big throws this year, right? I mean, and when you watch him play, you got to worry about him extending plays. That's the one thing we got to, no different than some of these quarterbacks we faced earlier in the season. You got to kind of cage rush them. You don't allow them to escape inside the pocket in those B gaps, because then that puts pressure on the secondary, right? The guys in zone coverage. So the key thing for us is to be, have a coordinated rush with our 4, whatever many guys are rushing with. And then on the back end, having vision and breaking. More importantly, we got to get this big man down too as well, because he's a big quarterback.
Similar to Lamar and the game plan of trying, because you had success against Lamar Jackson on the road.
Yeah. I would say close to it, but I think at times you see him want to stand in the pocket. But they have some design runs for him. You could tell there's down and distance where they say, look, Justin, you take the ball and you put on your cape. So we got to be sound, and I'm really pleased with what we've done defensively as far as game plan up to this point.
A lot of fans are excited about the T.J. Watt, Max Crosby. They don't compete against each other, but they compete for the Defensive Player of the Year award. Right. And Max plays more downs, but T.J. is really explosive. He could have a 3 or 4 sack game. Looking at the tape against the Cowboys and T.J. Watt, what'd you see?
We need a lot of hands on him. Whereas just find 90. That's our Waldo. Wherever 90 is, man, get a couple hands on him, get a couple bodies. But, I mean, a tremendous player. Ultimate respect for, his game and how he plays the game. Plays it hard. Right. It doesn't matter about how many snaps. But when he's in, it's balls to the wall. He's full throttle. And you put 2 players like that on the field, I think as a fan, you have to really respect the level of play that you want to get from the 2 gentlemen.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it with Eric Allen and Gannon and others. It elevates your play knowing that someone at your position is coming into your house and you want to have that game. So Max, he's always motivated, but this is special.
Trust me, he's extra motivated for this one.
Yes, he could. Let's get into Mike Tomlin and what you know about him personally and his philosophy, never having a losing season. The team got off to a really good start. They lose 2 in a row, so he's trying to dial them in big for this road trip.
Yeah, I know a lot of times we judge coaches off of championships and all that, but what about the consistency of just winning year in, year out, and the style of play? Like, they have their identity. You know what the Steeler football looks like. And there's no hidden agenda, right? The 3-4 defense is coming into town, right? You got the terrible towels. So what Mike Tomlin has done, and I played against him, when I played, he was coaching at that time as well. So it's somebody that you respect because you knew you had to, button up your chin strap. You had to put your pads on a little tighter. Everything had to be screwed up a little bit more because it was going to be a bloodbath. And then you just hear things throughout the week and as you doing your notes, and, man, they practice on Friday with pads. They're setting the tone. That's different, right? It's just different ways. He's one of the other coaches too that has live scrimmages, full live tackling with his team in training camp. And those are a lot of things that I heard and I watched from afar, and we brought here and implemented with us at the Raiders. So ultimate respect, because when you can have a career like he's had, 17 years, not losing season, finding different ways with different quarterbacks, different systems, different coordinators coming through, and just be consistent, ultimate pro.
One of the players I want to highlight is Ja'Cory Bennett. He's really playing well. What is he like Sunday to Sunday when you get him in the building and if he has to sit down, go to meetings, film? Tell us a little bit about him behind the scenes.
Yeah, student in the game. I think he's slowly, and you can see it gradually, learning how to study, how to prepare, how to get his body right, his routine, taking care of himself. But what you see is when you're in the meeting rooms with him, and I sit at times behind him and kind of see him in front of me, it's a guy taking notes, dialed in, asking questions, responsive. Sometimes you sit in meetings and you just let the coach talk the whole time, right? You kind of just look up. But he's engaged, right? He's engaged. He wants, give me more. Same thing with a lot of tidbits out on the field. He's always asking questions. He's always working on the side when the offense is up. So somebody that's just, to be honest, that I just see constantly growing each and every week. And every week it seems like he makes a play, right? On third down especially. He shows up. And that's been really good for us.
I talked to you about that week one, not because he's a young player. I just thought that they'd attack him more because of Jack on the other side. Right. A lot of teams have done that and found out early in the game there's no separation there.
No, I mean, we talk about legit speed too now, right? He can do it. But I think more importantly, you don't see the panic that we saw last year as a rookie. When the ball's in the air, boom, he turns his head around, he's playing the football, right? And I think that's why you see all the PBU step up. But more importantly, I think it's just his effort, his attitude. Playing corner, they're going to catch the ball on you now, but right, you're going to give up a play. You got to have short-term memory, and that's a part of his growth process as well.
Lastly, the rivalry. When I think of this rivalry, I think of a guy in the building, a mentor to me, George Atkinson. What he was able to do to Lynn Swann. They intimidated, and Steelers won a lot of those games, but it was back and forth. The 70s, I look at the 72 Dolphins, the Chiefs, but it was the Raiders and the Steelers. Winner move forward, loser eliminated in the playoffs. I would think it would be pretty, not easy, but to get everyone's attention on how important this moment is for this organization and an opportunity to get to 3-3.
Yeah, that's how I opened up the team meeting today, right? 32 times we faced one another. And I showed a clip back from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, and then finished it off to our game last year. And it's a heated rivalry, right? It's two of the better organizations in football. And there's probably some dislike amongst the fans. I'm sure there is, right? Yeah. But what you know and what you should expect is a physical, violent, heavy-handed game. And the history of that is back in the day, especially in the 70s and 60s a little bit, was championships. It always meant something when you play one another, right? Like you said, you're moving forward, the other one's going home. So to show our guys that and just understand the history is huge for us. To have them here at our hometown, we know we're going to get from their crowd, but we got to do our own deal.
So last one, it's a hard hat game. I mean, everybody's coming into this game understanding after Denver, everybody buckle up. This is going to be physical. Only way to get out of here with a win is you got to be violent and physical.
Yeah, I told them, go ahead and get with our training staff and medical staff and get some Advils and Tylenols now because you're going to need them. Ice packs need to be ready to go.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.